I think one of the biggest issues with New York was the SAFE Act. I think a lot of people were unhappy about that. Can you kind of explain what that was? Because I never really understood it.
Sure. The SAFE Act, for those of you who don't know who aren't in New York State, the SAFE Act was enacted right after Sandy Hook shooting in Connecticut. And when it happened, our governor thought, wow, tragedy. Now I can do something. And he pushed through the SAFE Act. The SAFE Act basically made a bunch of things that look scary, pieces of plastic, magazines more than 7 rounds, illegal, literally overnight.
Yeah.
So you purchase the 10-round magazine legally, you own it legally. You have, say, maybe a certain scope or something on your magazine, or a handle on your, a scope on your rifle, or you have a handle on your firearm that you purchased legally. It is now against the law. And you are now, I'm not joking, you are now overnight a violent felon.
Oh.
Because in New York State, any gun crime is by default violent.
It's ridiculous.
That's correct. So if, I'm not making this up, if I go to a gun range and pick up a firearm and I'm not licensed, whether that firearm is loaded or not loaded, if I pick it up and a cop sees me, I am now a violent felon. Because I held a pistol and did not have a license. Loaded or unloaded is irrelevant. That's how New York State works. The gun itself is magically evil, and therefore touching it makes you evil if you haven't been blessed by the state. You are by default evil. The SAFE Act made all these things illegal overnight and made you a violent felon overnight. Literally, it made about 4 million, give or take, New Yorkers violent felons overnight. In fact, it even made cops felons. They had to change the law because they did it so fast, they actually made all our cops felons too.
That's cuckoo
That's
for
true.
Cocoa Puffs.
Wow.
Yes. So then they changed it, right? And now they changed it. Now you have people going to jail for the SAFE Act constantly. And here's the problem. You have a big disconnect between, and this is every state, but New York State's a big example of this, between city dwellers and rural or suburban dwellers. Huge disconnect.
It's like California.
Yes, many states have this, right? So most urban dwellers aren't part of gun culture at all. So they have no idea what it is.
Right.
So here's as far as they looked. They said, well, it says safe in it. Beautiful marketing, by the way. I mean, perfect marketing.
It's like the Patriot Act.
Patriot Act, perfect example, right? It says SAFE Act, and we haven't had any school shootings since Sandy Hook, therefore it works. And most New Yorkers actually support the SAFE Act. Most do.
Really?
Wow.
Yes, absolutely. Most New Yorkers totally support a SAFE Act. They do. Republicans, Democrats, very well, because they don't know any better. So I would tell them how the SAFE Act actually created a black market, because now people aren't registering their weapons because they're afraid. Now people aren't saying what happened because they're afraid. People aren't talking about their ammunition because they're afraid. People are buying ammunition on the black market because they're afraid. People are doing terrible things because they're afraid. They're creating a black market. But I'm not even done with that. The SAFE Act also requires all medical personnel to report to the state anyone who has any mental issue at all. So now we've just made a medical personnel state part of a secret state police. So this has literally happened. Some guy gets in a car accident. They're bringing him to the emergency room. The nurse attending there goes, "How are you feeling, sir?" He says, "Oh, I'm in so much pain. I want to kill myself." Aha. Suicidal. Cops go by and take his firearms.
That has to prevent like NYPD and stuff from wanting to go and do like PTSD treatment and stuff, because that classifies as a mental disorder. So
cops are okay. See, cops are the exception. They wrote that rule in afterwards.
What about firefighters or what
veterans?
about
veterans? Firefighters, no. Veterans, no. That's the other point I bring up. It actually affects veterans more. Veterans are more apt to have firearms and more apt to have medical issues like PTSD, TBI, and depression. Mm-hmm. They're more apt to have that. So you've literally crippled our veteran community. Yes, you're absolutely correct.